Okay, guys, in this video, we're going to look at solving quadratic equations using completing the square. Now, I'm actually going to do this one in a couple of chunks. The first part is I'm going to just talk about how to do a completing the square, like what that process is going to look like. And then we'll look at how it actually goes into one of these when you're doing it. So in order to complete the square, you're going to take the b value, which is the value in front of x, and you're going to divide it by 2. Then you're going to take that answer and you're going to square it. Once you've squared it, you're going to put it back onto the original thing that has the x squared and the bx, and then it's going to factor. Now, the reason that we're doing this is it's going to factor a very specific way in order to make this happen. So let's take a look real quick at what one of these is going to look like, okay? Now, generally when we do these, we want them to be a plain x squared, and we really like this number in the middle here to be an even number. So over here off to the side, I'm just going to do my little 1, 2, 3, 4 to show you what this would look like in our process. So first thing we do is we take that b value, which in this case is -16, and we're going to divide it by 2. And that's going to give me 8. Then we're going to take that value and we're going to square, excuse me, that is -8. So I'm going to square that. So I've got -8 squared, and that's going to be 64. Okay. Now, x squared minus 16x. So we're bringing the original chunk that we have right down here, and we're going to add this value that came from here. Now, when I go to factor this, okay, if I do it in separated formats, the only way I'm going to get x squared is an x and an x, and I need a pair of numbers that multiplies to make 64 that combines to make 8 or 16. So it's going to be an 8 and an 8, and they actually both have to be negative. But we saw that value right up here in line 1. And so a different way to write this, because they're the same, is that term squared. Now, this comes in handy when we get ready to solve this, because we're forcing the quadratic, or at least the part that we have right here, to factor a very specific way when this happens, okay? So now then, how we're going to see this done in setup, okay, is after we've done this, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to get our x squared and our bx on the same side, okay? And if there's a constant number, then we're going to move that over to the other side. Now, we're going to do our complete the square process, but that value that we add on step 3, that last one where I did the 64, you've got to add that on both sides. And I'll show you what that looks like when we actually do the problem. And then to solve it, because now we have something squared, I can now use a square root method, like what we talked about in one of my previous videos, in order to do that. So let me go ahead and put our problem up here, get it transferred. And then I'm going to show you what this looks like, okay? So here's our equation. We've got x squared plus 4x minus 1. First thing we're going to do is we just want to keep our x squared and our 4x on this side. We're going to add the 1. So I've got x squared plus 4x equals 1. Okay. Now, over here off to the side, I'm going to do my steps. So I've got 4 divided by 2, which is 2. I'm going to square that. Happens to be 4. Okay. Now, this is just so that I can see what's going to happen. Okay, so go ahead and tag it on. And then it's x, and if you remember, we've got that up there, so it's going to be plus 2. Now, you can always double check yourself when this happens, okay? So now, I need this side to look like line 3. Well, I've already got the x squared and the 4x, and I'm going to use a different color here. Okay? And I'm going to tack on that 4 that was right back there on the back. Now, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we're going to tack that 4 on to the other side as well. So now this side we know will factor nice and pretty. And now we've got this. So now to finish solving this, I've got something squared. So I'm going to take a square root on both sides. Again, my square root and square will go away. So now I've got x plus 2, and I'm going to go ahead and show this separation. Square root of 5, and then I have x plus 2 is negative square roots of 5. Okay, I'm going to subtract the 2. Now, we do traditionally put the square root at the back. If we have a whole number and then a square root, we'll stick that at the back. Over here, I'm going to subtract the 2 as well. So I've got x equals -2 minus square roots of 5. Okay. And again, this could be abbreviated to x equals -2 plus minus. Notice they're both -2 here. The plus and the minus comes in before the square roots of 5. So that would be an abbreviated format for that one.